Hello there to all my followers of darkness, shadow scavengers, and villainy aficionados. Welcome, bienvenue. Here I am, your good old Lord of Shadows, and this is none other than one of my good old-fashioned TV show reviews. And today, I'm going to review a very, I would say, special TV show that actually kind of caught my attention ever since Netflix announced it, but also even caught more of my attention after seeing the trailers, which of course is this one. Splinter Cell Deathwatch Season 1. Now, the first time I heard of this show, I felt like, this is going to be like a mini-series type of like situation, but no. A day after Splinter Cell Deathwatch was premiered, Netflix renewed it for a Season 2, which already kind of shows you how confident they are in this TV show. And let me tell you, after watching it, I can understand why, because this show blew my mind. It really blew my mind. Now, before I go to the overall summary and review thing, I just want to be honest about one thing, guys, okay? I never, ever played a Splinter Cell game in my life, okay? Never, ever, ever, ever. I mean, in general, I am kind of familiar with the lore. I know who Sam Fisher is, and of course, I know the iconic goggles and everything, but I never played a game in my life. So when I went watching this, it was literally like a shot in the dark. Okay. I mean, some of my friends who played Splinter Cell in the past, they kind of helped me a little bit when it comes to like the lore, just so I can kind of understand the TV show a little better and everything. But in general, it was like a shot in the dark for me. Okay. So with that being said, let's begin, shall we? So basically, the overall kind of like a quick summary of Splinter Cell Deathwatch Season 1 is basically that you have this like, quote unquote retired operate Sam Fisher, who is a bit older in this TV show, basically pulled back into the world of espionage by a young rookie agent called Xena McKenna, I think, to try to solve this like global conspiracy that involves a certain company known as Displace International, and also at the same time some the Shitland siblings, which also as a bonus, Sam Fisher in this season is going to have to confront his past as well. So that's kind of like the overall summary of like Splinter Cell Deathwatch Season 1. Now, I'm going to try to be as spoiler-free as possible, but if something happens, well, you guys have been warned. So without any further ado, let's start with this, okay? Now, Splinter Cell Deathwatch, it's a very, the reason why it blew my mind, it's a very, in a way, unique TV show, okay? Because this type of show, you will think like, it's driven by explosions and action, brutality and all that. Actually, no. It has a very complex plot. It is mostly dialogue driven. It gives you a lot of like character depth, not to mention psychological tension as well. And also, like I said, it doesn't center like a lot more into action that I guess like a lot of people might think. Yeah, it has a very unique storytelling, and I liked it. I mean, some people I know that might not be into like a story that is dialogue driven, but for this kind of show, I can see why. I mean, especially Sam Fisher. By the way, I just want to say this, okay? One thing: people who believe that the character of Xena McKenna is the star of the show and not Sam Fisher, I'm telling you this right now, you're absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. If you think that this female agent is going to take the mantle and everything, forget about it. Sam Fisher is the main character and the main star of the show from beginning to end. I mean, sure, don't get me wrong. Other characters also have moments to shine, including the young agent Xena McKenna as well, throughout all the episodes and everything. But overall, Sam Fisher is the main star, and I really, really love this character. And I will say this. Now, one of the things I was familiar is that, in the games, I believe Michael Ironside was the one who actually voiced him in the video games, as far as I remember. I mean, if you guys don't know who he is, he's the voice of Darkseid in the DC animated universe and everything. But in this TV show, I mean, I was blown away. He was voiced by Lou Schreiber, and he actually did a phenomenal job. I really like his voice performance as Sam Fisher. But of course, besides him, everyone actually was pretty good when it comes to voice performances, And I will say this: all the other characters also were actually very interesting. Absolutely, like from even Xena Makina, like I said, even though it is Sam Fisher's story, or should I say, it's Sam Fisher centric TV show. But Xena Makina also, for me personally, from the beginning to the end, she was also an interesting character. I was really interesting. I was really interested, like in her character arc, her past, especially some connections with a certain agent and everything. Her overall journey with with pain and tragedy and anger and hatred and revenge. And not to mention, one of the also other things that I think is one of the strongest elements of Splinter Cell Deathwatch is basically the relationship between Sam Fisher and Xena Makina. Now, since Sam Fisher is older, and I will get to that in a second, since Sam Fisher is older, you can kind of say it is sort of like a mentor, young rookie, arrogant agent type of relationship and everything, But I would say for this show, it works. Sometimes it doesn't work in certain stories and everything, but in this one actually works. I really like their relationship, their chemistry. That for me was like a big plus for me. So yeah, but besides them, like I said, even the side characters like the director of this agency, the other woman who was like the computer brain behind it, even like the hacker that they hired for this conspiracy solving mission and everything, even he was an interesting character as well. But and also even the villains as well. But I will get to them in a second. But outside the villains, like all the other characters, for me, none of them felt left off or like pushed in a corner. Each and every one of them have their moment to shine. Sure, Sam Fisher is the main character, and alongside Xena Makina as well. Those two are the biggest center of all of them. But besides them, through all the episodes, they still all have all the other characters. They still have a moment to shine for each and every one of them when it comes to their struggles, their character arcs, their personalities, their depths, and everything. Because like I said, this is the type of story that Splinter Cell is centered about. When it comes to spy type story, this is basically what the Splinter Cell Deathwatch Season 1 is. Like I said, a complex plot, a character-driven, character arc and dialogue-driven story. And this story has a lot of dialogue. Okay, but don't worry. When it comes to action, it is there. It is there. Now, going to the villains, which of course was one of my favorite parts when I'm doing this kind of reviews. The villains, which are like this Shetland siblings, a brother and a sister. I'll say as villains, they were pretty solid. But very classic, traditional espionage type of villains and everything, especially when it comes to business and everything. They were very solid. I even like their arcs as well, especially the sister. I like the brother as well, but for me, the strongest character of the two, for me, was the sister. Not just simply her character arc and her personality and everything, but also the overall connection that she has with Sam Fisher. That was actually one of the best parts for me when it comes to villain hero situation. There's one. Without spoiling anything, there's a certain scene where Sam Fisher is confronting the sister. And it's the Shetland sister. Who are basically also the children of Sam Fisher's older partner, who later on became a crime lord and everything. It's like I said, it's a very complex story, but done in such a good way that none of it felt like either rushed or overstuffed or leaving a plot hole and everything. It was really, for me personally, story-wise, this show was really well done. Really well done. But again, going back to, like I said, because going back to that scene between the sister Shetland and Sam Fisher, that scene alone, with the overall confrontation it had with the dialogue and everything, was my favorite scene in the entire series. It was absolutely great. So, with all that being said, character-wise, they're all absolutely great. And this show, it has, humor doesn't play a big part in this. I mean, when you have a TV show like Splinter Cell, Deathwatch, and of course, you don't expect humor to play a big part. But the serious moments, the dark moments, the emotional moments, most of all, everything for me hit the landing. Like none of it felt, like I said, again, rushed or short or like too soon or anything. Like everything for me had a perfect landing. Everything. So when it comes to story wise, no complaints about that at all. Now, some people I know, some people might actually complain that Sam Fisher in this one is older. I would say kind of like maybe late 50s or early 60s. I think but honestly, again, talking again, I'm a guy who never played a Splinter Cell game before, but like talking when it comes to this particular story, it actually works. Okay, Sam Fisher being older, it actually fits. Not just simply on the character alone, but like I said, also with his relationship with, like I said, with the villains, with his younger partner and everything, like it really actually works. So for Sam Fisher being older, I have no complaints whatsoever. Which I mean, I think one of the reasons why people were complaining, I personally think, because oh, he's old, so that means they're gonna kill him very soon, so that Xena McKenna, the younger agent, could take over and everything. Well, if you watch this episode, if you watch this TV show, well, should I say season 1, that my friend, I'm telling you, you hit an iceberg, because nope, he's alive all the way till the end. Yup. But anyway, yeah. So when it comes to older Sam Fisher, like I mean, at times it kind of made me feel like he was like again. I know that this is a type of subject that a lot of people will hate, but the relationship between Xena McKenna and Sam Fisher, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like something like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke, or like Luke and Rey from the sequel trilogy. Like it kind of reminds me a little bit of that, but again, not too much, but there are some elements that kind of remind me of that. Now, now the action. Oh boy. Oh boy. I was so shocked to see how brutal it was, because I'm telling you, it is a dialogue driven story, but when it comes to action, when it's there, it's there. Oh man. Not just simply like Xena McKenna, like her characters, but like even she has some like action sequences throughout the series, which are also brutal. But I would say the most brutal ones are when Sam Fisher is in action. Oh man, they're so brutal. But again, for a world like Splinter Cell, it actually kind of makes sense. I mean, like when I saw this season 1, it kind of reminds me like a combination of James Bond, Hitman, and John Wick, like basically put together, and you will get like Splinter Cell. I mean, again, and maybe maybe even some elements from Jason Bourne as well. I mean, again, that's just me. Okay, going outside this TV show, basically, as a as a non-knowing Splinter Cell franchise lore type of guy and everything. So yeah, but again, the action for me was really good, but also very brutal. That was like there were times I was actually shocked how brutal it was. But again, for a world like this, it actually works. Now, the other things I have to also mention is the animation. It's kind of like, and I really like this idea because it was kind of like a combination of 3 styles. Okay, some people, it felt like a combination. Okay, it felt like a combination between 2D, anime, and 3D. It felt like a combination of those 3 types of animation, and in a strange way, it actually works. I like I said, I didn't mind the animation. It really felt like a pretty fit for a TV show like this. So yeah, even like when it comes to animation, I have zero complaints. Absolutely. Now, I mentioned before that the season 2 is happening. Now, I felt like that when I was watching season 1, there's going to be like a cliffhanger and everything. So we'll kind of like basically lead this story to a season 2. But without any spoilers, there's something that happens at the end that makes you wonder, okay, how season 2 is going to go. Like, again, I'm not going to spoil for anyone who hasn't seen the show yet. I'm not going to spoil what it is, but there's something bonkers that happens in the end that really gives you the question how they're going to do season 2. It really makes you wonder. But overall, in general, like I really enjoyed Splinter Cell Deathwatch as a non-Splinter Cell player. Like I really enjoyed the show, and I cannot wait to see more of it. You know, like I will say this. Now, when it comes to negatives, I mean, I don't have too many. I would say maybe okay. The only complaint I can have is that since the entire story, I'm going to the villain side right now. I would say that's kind of like my only complaint I have. Uh, the entire season one was centering more around the sister than the brother. So I felt like, okay, maybe the brother could have had more of a character development alongside her sister. So I would say maybe for me, that's the only nitpicky thing I have for Splinter Cell Deathwatch. And also maybe they could have dig deeper a little bit even to Zena McKinnon's past, like especially her relationship with the agent and everything that she had and all. So yeah, those would be kind of like my nitpicky things when it comes to the Splinter Cell Deathwatch. But everything else for me worked, absolutely worked from the beginning to the very end, and I cannot wait to see what they're going to do for season two, especially the way how season one ended. But anyway, to overall, when it comes to my rating for season one, I'm going to give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. I mean, to be fair, before I started watching this, I felt like this show is going to be something like a between 7.5. But after actually watching it and everything, because I'm telling you, after first episode and the second, I was like all in. Like I was really pulled into the Splinter Cell Deathwatch. Like I was really interested. I couldn't stop. Like I literally binged all episodes together because I was so invested in the show. So for me, I'll give Splinter Cell Deathwatch season one a solid 8.5 out of 10. Absolutely, it fucking deserved this type of rating. And with that being said, here I am done, guys. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like overall, it is kind of like a quick review and everything. Because again, I was really trying to stay away from all the spoiler elements and everything, because I really want you guys to experience this show. Okay, I like one of the wishes I have is for this show Splinter Cell Deathwatch to be more and more appreciated. Basically, look, I really want a lot of people to watch this show, so we can have more storytelling when it comes to Splinter Cell Deathwatch, because season one was absolutely mind blowing. So I really hope this show gets a lot more support and appreciation. So with that being said, here I am done, guys. Rate the video, comment, like, subscribe. Give me your personal overall thoughts, ideas. If you've seen Splinter Cell Deathwatch, what did you feel about the story, about the characters, older Sam Fisher, the action, the dialogue, the villains, like basically everything about Splinter Cell Deathwatch, just put in the comment section down below. And as always, stay tuned for more, guys. See you guys next time, or as I like to say, Lord of Shadows signing off, or even better, later, fuckers.